Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Vetting America, episode 10. We are live at the Attic Cafe in downtown Tampa, live from 500 East Kennedy Boulevard. My guest today is Rosie Lee of Action Zone. Thank you so much, Rosie, for coming on my show.
Thank you for having me.
I would like to thank our sponsor, McIntyreFirm.com, and our producer, Anthony Kovic of the Tampa Post. So, Rosie, what's Action Zone all about?
Oh, Action Zone is an exciting new entrepreneur support organization that serves veterans exclusively. Exclusively. It's a veteran. It was made for veterans by veterans. It is an organization where veterans and the military spouses and dependents can learn to start a business. I stopped that rather suddenly.
Yes, you stopped that really suddenly.
Sorry,
no,
because my mind went blank.
Of course. No, you're perfectly fine.
We are a nonprofit in Florida that was organized, as I said, for veterans by veterans, and we serve active duty military, veterans, military spouses, reservists, guards, and dependents. All of those can get services anywhere, but what differentiates us is, first of all, our exclusivity, because we only deal with veterans and military spouses and dependents, and military and spouses and dependents often are left out of the mix.
This is very true.
They often don't have services available to them, but we include them, and we have some very exciting things on the table for them. The other thing that I think is unique about Action Zone is that we are independent. Okay. We're not affiliated with a school or a government organization or any other entity. It is run by the veterans and the military spouses that are attached to it. And that gives us a greater flexibility to provide programs, to utilize our resources, to make connections and collaborations that are not restricted by another entity that governs us. So I think that's a very important distinction about Action Zone. And then I think the third thing that is important to note is that we know, and we want others to know, that we are not an incubator or an accelerator. Okay. We are actually the entry point for veterans, military spouses, and dependents to get the entrepreneurial education that they want to start a business. To that end, we want to work with and collaborate with we have some awesome entrepreneur support organizations in the Tampa Bay region.
You with the next question. Okay. I'll just start with your question here. Just look at her as if you're starting the next question. Go.
So why the veteran space? What makes you want to work with veterans and their families?
Well, I'll try to answer that without getting too emotional, but it does bring up emotions. I am probably more surprised than anyone that I'm working in this space. You know, I am not fresh out of college. Well, I am fresh out of college, but I'm not young, fresh out of college. And I think I had aspirations for my professional life that maybe did or didn't pan out. I've been a serial entrepreneur, so I have that experience to bring to the job. But it wasn't until I very coincidentally landed a job that worked in this space. And my very first week on the job was interacting with veterans, telling them that they were accepted into a program. And I was immediately hooked when I made my first couple of calls, and they would tell me, oh my gosh, thank you so much. I've been really looking for this opportunity. And I'm on my end of the phone in tears because I am so grateful that all that they have done for us and all that they have sacrificed for us. And I felt like I was being given a gift to tell them that they were accepted, and here they were so gracious. It was a shocking moment, but it was the moment that defined how I wanted to spend the rest of my professional life. Now, having said that, I am the daughter of a veteran. My husband is a Vietnam veteran. My son, one of my sons, is currently serving in the Army. So I have that connection, but it wasn't until I got into this space and connected with people outside of my personal network that I really was captured. My heart was captured.
So Rosie was there at the beginning of my adventure and of my journey. And from the moment that I walked into Operation Startup, when you were the director of that, and from the moment I started Veterans Florida program, which you were director of that, she just was there for you at all times, just there to be either a soft ear to talk to or someone to give you some wisdom. It was an incredible experience, and I'm so happy I got to meet you because you've actually helped me get to this point in my life, and I wouldn't be here without her. Speaking of Veterans Florida, I read a press release from Veterans Florida that indicated that Action Zone was selected to be the Tampa Bay Region Network Partner for their program.
That's correct.
So let's talk a little bit about that and how that came to be.
Wow, that was a whirlwind of activity. As I said before, there are a number of really terrific entrepreneur support organizations in this region. And one thing that we all need to recognize, and most do, is that we can't all do everything. In fact, my motto is, no one can do everything, but everyone can do something. There was a hole in the ESO space specifically catering to veterans. And so we created Action Zone to fill that gap. As I said before, for veterans, by veterans. And the obvious first step was to provide the Veterans Florida Entrepreneurship Program, which I had been a part of for a couple of years, so I was familiar with what they were doing and very eager to be a part of continuing that process in a different format.
Is the Veterans Florida program the only service that Action Zone is actually offering the veteran entrepreneurship community?
At this time, the Veterans Florida program will start recruiting for the new cohort on the 1st of July. Action Zone has programs. We have programs for veterans that are not enrolled in the Veterans Florida program, or not interested, or cannot make the time commitment, because we want to be the resource, as we were talking about, the resource for early stage entrepreneurs who want to build a business, military spouses who need to create a business because moving from tour duty to tour duty is killer on someone's profession.
Yes. Yes.
So we want to have programs for military spouses to create businesses that are portable.
Mm-hmm.
We are developing programs for dependents, for youth entrepreneurs. One of the things that we've been so blessed to be a part of is Tampa Bay Startup Week,
yes,
which Valerie and I, my cohort Valerie and I, have both participated in, and have met some really fabulous young entrepreneurs.
Yes, absolutely.
Kids that are 12, 13, 14 years old that really have it going on. They know what's happening. They know how to make a business work. They're much better in some respects than adults, because they're not shy about talking about who they are and what they can do and what they're trying to accomplish. So we're developing some youth programs as well, so that we can help the military dependents do that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Why Tampa? Why, of all the cities that you could do, I know why Tampa, and my followers have all heard me talk about Tampa quite often. So what is your opinion of why Tampa is the only city for you to roll this out in?
Oh, just look out the window. I mean, we have some of the most dynamic businesses either in Tampa or coming to Tampa. We have a melting pot of individuals, whether they're veterans or not, that come here because we have such a big economic climate. We have new things coming. You know, if we get the stadium in Ybor would be awesome.
Yes.
And so we have all of the components, and then the lifestyle. People come here for the lifestyle, but they may not be ready to retire yet. And so building a business is the obvious next step. I live in a retirement community in the Hillsborough County area, and I can tell you that even the baby boomers and older are not retiring.
No.
So we have lots of opportunity here while living in this wonderful paradise with lots of resources.
Let's talk a little bit about the process of Action Zone and what, in the different ways you want to go about doing it. I know you talked a little bit about Effectuation Camp.
Yes.
As well as the CEO Mindset, which are two different programs that you want to roll out in the future.
Correct.
I would love to learn more about what those stand for, what they mean, and where did the ideas come from?
Well, the ideas came from middle of the night writing sessions in trying to create a program that would be beneficial to the people who are going to be attending it. The first premise of Action Zone is that Action Zone is not for us. Action Zone is not for any of the veterans that were involved in creating the organization or going after the Veterans Florida grant. Action Zone is for, as every ESO should be, is for the people that come to us. So we created innovative or interesting or adventurous programs that would attract to a different group of people. We have a big pot of people. We want to make sure that we have something for as many in that pot as we can. So to get back to the event, the Effectuation Camp, Veterans Florida program, if I can talk about that for just a second. Veterans Florida program consists of a curriculum for building your business model and launching that, as well as the Homefront Foundation's storytelling workshops. That is the core of the Veterans Florida program. In addition to the core of the Veterans Florida program, and what sets Action Zone apart from the other network partners, is that we have 2 programs at the early stage to help them define and decide if they're entrepreneurial, if their idea is ready to launch or ready to develop, or if they still are thinking about an idea but haven't yet tracked it down, haven't nailed down what exactly they want to do. So to that end, we have the entrepreneurial mindset training, which is the Ice House training program. The Ice House, Who Owns the Ice House by Gary Shoniger and Clifton Taubert, is the book that's spurred on the entrepreneurial mindset training. And that's a 3-day workshop that we help people find where their entrepreneurial traits are. We help them find that it's okay to look at a challenge and find an opportunity in it. We lose that as children, where we think a challenge is something we need to overcome but not necessarily solve. So in the entrepreneurial mindset training, we spend 3 days exploring those kind of things. And that's the first part of the Veterans Florida program. We will be offering entrepreneurial mindset through Action Zone that's not a part of Veterans Florida. The second part of the Veterans Florida program is Effectuation Camp. And Effectuation Camp came about because the facilitator for Effectuation Camp is Robert Blackledge, who has been a conductor of the startup bus. And while we couldn't do a Veterans Florida startup bus, we decided to take on that concept and tweak it a little bit.
Yes.
One of the things that we think is very important in the entrepreneurial space is that you have to know who you're playing with. You have to know who's in the sandbox with you, and you need to know what their strengths are. So the Effectuation Camp is a 3-day adventure, 2 nights and 3 days, where our veterans in the program will camp with us. We provide everything you need but your pillow and your blankets, and almost. And for that period of time, you are working on a business idea that you didn't create. It's not personal and emotional to you. You're utilizing the distilled entrepreneurial skills that we all need to know and apply and know how to apply, and you're learning the intellectual assets of your teammates. If you've ever been in a program or a course or a workshop and you didn't have much time to interact with the people in the same classroom with you, you may not know that that person is a brain in branding or marketing, or that they know something about a high-tech field that you're not familiar with. This will give the cohort an opportunity to know what everyone's intellectual strengths are, because they're attending adventure camp without the benefit of technology. There's no Google, there's no cell phones, there's no computers. It is depending on the people in your group, finding out what they know and how they can help you, so that when you get to the next phase, when you're starting to build your business model, you know who in that room has what you need to know.
Absolutely.
And who you can rely on.
That's amazing. That's
and
amazing.
Then finally, if I can, CEO Mindset is the component that we integrated after the Veterans Florida co-program. So you've been through Veterans Florida program. And we've had a number of people that have. And when they get to the end of the program, they deliver a pitch, and we cheer them on and tell them great things. And we have provided them some additional assistance after the fact. But what this program does for them, CEO Mindset, is deliver a 6-week series of who are you? What are your goals? What are your personal goals and your professional goals? How do you focus on obtaining those? What is your worth? When I interviewed Julianne Nichols and at Julo Strategies, which is our collaborative partner providing CEO Mindset, my interview with her, where I went to her to find out what her program was to see if I wanted to include it in ours, really culminated in 45 minutes of her showing me what she does.
Oh, wow.
Which, by the way, for all you entrepreneurs, showing is always much better than telling.
Showing is always better than telling.
And I left that hour-long meeting, 45 minutes of which was spent on me, knowing what I felt I was worth, having a better understanding of what I needed to do to focus, or at least the tools I needed to use to be able to focus in on what I wanted, and really being excited about what this can do for the people that have gone through the program and how it will help them become the CEO of themselves.
Yes.
You become the CEO of you.
everybody needs to be the CEO of themselves.
Absolutely.
And I honestly believe we are what is in our own way 95% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I've learned throughout this journey, everything I've gone through, everything I've done, that when I'm mentally squared away and I know where I'm going, everything just kind of happens for me.
Yes, it does.
But as soon as the doubt, as soon as my brain starts to take on too much and I don't have that focus anymore, it just seems like nothing really goes your way. So it's finding that balance, that focal point to exist in, and I think that's what you're bringing, and that's amazing, because the one thing I've noticed with myself, with the people I work with all the other entrepreneurs I ran into, was that valuing ourselves is the hardest thing for us.
It is.
Especially for veterans who never really did anything for money before.
Right.
It was always for service, for something bigger than themselves. We have no idea. We have no sense of really what money is. It's pretty much monopoly money to us until we're out there and going, whoa, we have to pay our bills and we want to live our dream. So trying to, I love it. I love everything.
And once you know how to value yourself, then the three things that I learned in that interview was automate, delegate, and eliminate. Ooh. Once you have an idea of your own self-worth, a number, a dollar number in mind, it makes it incredibly easy to say, well, I can automate this, I can delegate this, or I don't need to do this. And when you learn how to do that, then there is nothing that can stop you.
Nope, finding your own lane. Finding your lane that you exist in, outsource your weaknesses, dive into your strengths, build a team, trust, communicate, respect, and everything will work out for you.
And when you learn to do that, you are supporting everybody around you.
Making them better.
Again, none of us can do everything. Yes. So if I am not a branding expert, I need to hire somebody who is a branding expert. If I keep myself close to the vest and I try to do it all myself, first of all, I suffer, my company suffers, the people I serve suffer, and I am not spreading business around that needs to be done more efficiently and better than I can do it myself.
Community over competition, every time.
Absolutely, I love that. Community over competition, it is.
All the time.
It is.
Why entrepreneurship? I know you've been a serial entrepreneur from the beginning. I would love for you to tell your quick story of your first entrepreneurial experience when you were 12 years old.
Yes.
But it seems that this is just your passion your entire life, and it's saved mine. I want to know what 40 years of entrepreneurship, 40, 50 years of entrepreneurship.
That was really generous of you, by the way. My 12-year-old story, I think my first entrepreneurial experience was when I held a Jerry Lewis telethon, and a portion of my proceeds was going to the kids at the Jerry Lewis telethon. I did not send 100%, but I didn't represent that I would, so I was, I wasn't a shill. I've had a number of them since then. I have worked for corporations. I've worked for small businesses and large businesses. I've been part of that hierarchy in an organization. But I always had this passion to kind of have this little piece of my own. Yes. So from a very young age to very recently, I've done everything from, I've done every home party you can ever imagine, which if you do it right is a business. But my husband and I were mobile DJs for 15 years out of necessity. Out of necessity, because we were raising children and we both had full-time jobs and we needed the extra money. So we did mobile DJ. It was his hobby. I turned it into a business. Then it was, that was all there was. Then we had our dream job, which was, we both dreamed of opening a restaurant. So we opened up a food truck after he retired. I've owned a real estate business. I'm a real estate broker in Florida. I don't choose not to work in that industry anymore, but I do maintain it because you never know when you'll need it. But so I ran a real estate. I helped run a real estate company with some partners of mine, and so the value in running your own show is in not just the accomplishment that I did that. It is that, and this probably has to do more with my upbringing than anything, is that what I brought to the table helped other people. It brought other people benefit. Whether I helped a bride and groom by giving a good wedding reception with our skills as DJs, or I was able to recommend a photographer and a baker to help. I always want to bring in others that can benefit, because it's not me.
It's community.
It's not just me.
It's an ecosystem.
Yes.
And I think that's why Tampa, for me, is one of the greatest cities to launch your first business and to get your foot in the door. There's zero barriers to entry.
Right.
Just effort. And be in the right place at the right time, be willing to learn, and bring other people's lives.
Right.
Where there's a lot of gatekeepers in a lot of other cities, there's no gatekeepers here. But the one thing people expect is for you to put forth your best effort and truly bring as much value as you possibly can each and every day to each and every situation.
Absolutely.
So there may not be a barrier to entry in terms of knowing the right people or being a part of the right business, but there is a barrier to entry if you don't have the work ethic to support the endeavors because nobody's going to want to do business with somebody that's not putting the work forward.
No, or genuineness.
Authenticity is everything.
Absolutely.
Yes, so much, especially here in this melting pot of a town. Everybody seems to have been around the block a few times. So if you're not yourself, people see right through it and they're not going to want to do business with you.
Yeah. The nice thing about Tampa is you can get on the computer, or you can come here to the attic, or you can go anywhere, and there are literally plastered on walls, come to this event, come to this event, network here, network there. What really surprises me is how interconnected, as big a place as Tampa is and as many organizations as there are here, it's not uncommon to go to one and they say, oh, I know that, I know that person. You should connect with that person. Or you're sitting someplace in a crowded room and somebody that you know comes up and the person you're talking to, you both turn around to give them a hug because you don't know you both know them.
Yep, exactly.
It's really exciting.
And then your network starts from here and just blossoms.
Absolutely.
And to me personally speaking, my network is the foundation to my business success. Because again, like you said, you can't do anything alone.
That's right.
So I just try to meet as many people as possible and go, how can I help you? Because at some point I'm hoping that if not them, they know somebody that can help me when I need it. And it's all about paying it forward. So how can the Tampa Bay community support Action Zone? A
number of ways. First of all, you can support us by liking our Facebook page. That's where right now all of our activity.
Which is that?
It's at Action Zone.
Action Zone.
Action Zone Tampa. At Action Zone Tampa is our Facebook page. From that page until our website launches, that will give you all the information about what we're doing and where we're at. It will also advertise the times that we're starting to recruit for the Veterans Florida program, which is going to be happening all through July. So that would be the place to go. Once the website's launched, you'll know from there what that is. What we are looking for is collaborative partners. As we talked about before, we are just one of hundreds of ESOs in the community, and we are making a concerted effort to go out and speak to them and connect with them to find out what we can do to make a channel for the next steps for the people in our organization that want to make the next steps. So if you're interested in collaborating, you can reach us through the Facebook page or my LinkedIn account, which you can, Rosie Lee, you can't miss me. People who want to be mentors or business advisors, we're always looking for those kind of things. Then of course there's the show me the money thing. We always are looking for sponsorships for either to sponsor a veteran that wants to attend a program but can't afford it, or that maybe you have an idea for a program that would be beneficial to veterans and you want to know if we could host it for you. We're happy to talk to you. The thing about all of the players in the Action Zone team is that we're all very collaborative and we're all eager to bring more people into the fold.
And Ted, one of my favorite segments of the show, I always ask every one of my guests to give a sage piece of advice to a transitioning military member, either one that's already been out in the game for a while or is just looking to transition out of the military and start their civilian career. What are some things you would tell someone who is in that difficult spot where they're ending literally one aspect of their life that will never be the same and going into a completely different aspect that's so foreign to them that they may not even know what's up and down? What have you noticed working with so many veterans over the years that helps them get ahead?
I probably could answer that question directly with what I've noticed, but to be authentic and to know that I've never been in the service, and my husband was out of the service when we met, so I don't have experience with that transition. But I do have experience as a military spouse who is caring for a veteran or is a partner of a veteran and has to deal with issues as well. Mm-hmm. And maybe the advice is the same, is that utilize the community around you. Don't be afraid to reach out and ask for what you need, because I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. And I can only share with you the things that I've learned that others might have needed, but that might not be what you need. So from a military family perspective, don't be afraid to take that first step. We can't help you if you don't make that first step. And we're trying really hard to reach you, and we will go to great lengths to find the people that need us. But don't be afraid in whatever it is you need, whether it's entrepreneurship or personal support or financial support or just somebody to talk to say this is all different. You need to take that first step because there are a lot of resources out there that don't know how to find you.
Thank you so much, Rosie Lee.
Thank you, Adam. President
and Executive Director of Action Zone. Again, we are here live from the Attic Cafe in downtown Tampa. I'd like to thank McIntyreFirm.com for sponsoring us today, and my producer, Anthony Kovic of the Tampa Post. Thank you so much, Rosie.
Thank you, Adam. It was great. Thank you.